this scene, I've saved out like these. This is one of the main benefits of having kind of render elements or channels. They're referred to in different programs will refer to them in a different way, but essentially setting up kind of color blocks within whatever you're saving out of something like Enscape will have something like this. And color coding your scene means that, you know, now I can kind of go in here and say, I just want to grab those, you know, the greenery in the middle there, and I'm going to deselect the other stuff. But if I apply an adjustment layer with that selection enabled, you'll see like this is what a mask does. It essentially says like whatever's in white in the mask is what you're influencing, and everything black doesn't do anything to. So it's like having a selection set applied to whatever adjustments you're making. So then if I wanted to brighten up that section, it's just brightening up those things because I've selected it, applied a mask. And then the really powerful thing about masks is you can edit those as much as you like using kind of brushes. So they can be really, really powerful for blending things into each other. So generally I would recommend doing it by material. So like, you know, all your wood is a bright red, all of your glass is a bright blue, and then you've got the ability to select them in Photoshop. What I've got here is like actually there's sort of two examples here. So this is something that I can set up in 3D Studio Max where it's an RGB channel, which means that it's pure blue, pure green, and pure red, and I can assign different objects to those channels. And the benefit of that is that in Photoshop, you can use the RGB kind of channels to actually just directly select those without having to use like a magic wand or a lasso. So I can actually just hold down control and then click red, and it'll select just the red things in that scene. Whereas what you'll more often find is that you might be able to get something like this out where like everything's kind of a slightly different color. You've maybe got some control over it, and you can't, if I try and do that with, you know, red here, it'll pick anything that has like a bit of red in. So you kind of can't do the same thing. So there are a few different ways that you can kind of select from something like this that are obviously going to be easier than if you select them from the base image. One of them is to use the fastest way that I use most often is just the magic wand, which is this one. I set the tolerance like quite low so that it's sort of, it's being very specific about the color band which you're kind of selecting. And then I'll use that, and it'll select, you know, all of the bits that are green, which in this case is kind of the soffit on the inside of the building. The other way to do it is you can actually do this within a selection set. But if you have this layer selected, you can go to select and then color range, and you can eyedrop a particular color, and it'll allow you to kind of adjust exactly which color you want to select. So having something that is representative of your objects in a really flat way that are color coded should be possible from almost any software that you use. Like it's a very common kind of industry standard. But being aware of it, setting it up, and then that being part of your process makes your life so much easier, because you do end up doing that, like, you know, cutting out within the scene manually changes. And if you're doing that kind of photo montage into line work, you know, if you have a kind of color blocked version of that, it just means that you can be very specific about where you're applying, you know, your materials, and then using the masks makes that